I don't want the church to teach people to accept things on faith. What what argument does one organization that accepts things on faith have against another organization doing the same thing, one that perhaps is committing atrocities? I don't want the church to teach people to hate their sexual orientation, especially not when they're young, and that self-hate could do a whole lot of psychological damage. I do support the church in so much as the Adventist church encourages people to grow their own food, or the Adventist church funds hospitals. But that's about it. And there are other organizations that can do the same thing. So I decided that it was time to talk to people on the internet who are atheists. This led me to just throw out all the books I had accumulated. I really started hating the Christianity that I was taught. I burned a lot of my books. They were a burden to me, and burning them or throwing them in the woods was a weight off of me. Christianity was no longer making me feel the needless guilt that I was feeling. And in that sense, it was sort of okay to burn a book. That, and there were just so many of those books that I was never going to read. So I started replacing my lifestyle, and eventually even accepted my sexual orientation. Could say I'm gay or I'm bi. Either way is okay. That was a difficult transition, but it was one that I had to go through to assert my adulthood as well. I moved in with another guy for a short time, but eventually having to move back, that relationship started shortly after I had accepted my sexuality and my atheism, and it was not a perfectly thought out relationship. We were just incompatible, but nobody was really at fault. When I came back, I was depressed for a while because I had to be back with my parents. They were a little more tolerant of me than they used to be. Since then, things have improved when I discovered the local atheist community after somebody had left a atheist humanist card in a library book on the subject of evolution. Libraries do not like people leaving things in their books, but you don't need to be in contact with other atheists to be an atheist. But in some cultures, particularly people from very religious backgrounds, it is a good idea. And atheists may disagree on subjects of philosophy and morality, but I find humanism to be a very valuable philosophy, a very valuable social philosophy on how we can be moral without God. Some would ask, some like my ex would ask people, how can there be morality with a God? I'm not exactly sure what got me out of religion. On one hand, there's my understanding of evolution, and the more you understand it, the less you see how a universe could exist with the Christian or the Muslim God. Its structure does not conform to the creationist stories. Those religions are very human-centric, but our understanding of the cosmos is not human-centric. We just see the things that are closer to humans, but we understand that. On the other hand, is my understanding of morality and ethics. It is not imposed from an authority. Morality is something that we work out amongst ourselves as a community. And it slightly changes over time. It's like, I think YouTuber Cosmic Skeptic has asked, are those volcanoes on the Jovan Moon Io God's judgment? Or are they just volcanoes? Consider Carl Sagan's cosmic calendar, with the first second of January 1st being the Big Bang, and the last second of December 31st being human history since the mid-1900s. In this cosmic calendar, human history has only gone on for about the past 5 to 10 minutes. All the rest of the universe happened without us, without God's imposition of morality imposed on creatures such as Tiktaalik, which evolved on December 17th. Life has not even been around for very long, considering that the Earth appeared on August 31st. So, what good does our religion, what perspective does it bring us to think that all of history since the Big Bang, going on through the formation of the first stars and then the deaths of the first stars, creating the materials, the elements that condensed into our metal-rich world, then leading on to evolution that doesn't necessarily have us in mind, but evolves many of the creatures, the plants and animals of Earth, becoming walking fish, becoming dinosaurs, dinosaurs going extinct, becoming birds and mammals and other creatures, some of them very intelligent, but and then perhaps 20 species of humans appearing before our own species of humans shows up. And then, what then? The entire of history was made for us? Meanwhile, there is a galaxy of hundreds of billions of stars, and then hundreds of billions of galaxies upon top of that. And this is probably the only nitrogen, oxygen atmosphere at a comfortable temperature and humidity level in that there might be. There might be other atmospheres that we could survive in, but there's nothing for us to eat there, perhaps. Meanwhile, there might be other people on other planets who look more like starfish or octopus than like us, and they might be more intelligent than us. Should they think that the universe was made for them, or should we think that the universe was made for us? What will we become next? Perhaps the universe was made for our descendants and not for us.